So something that's really grabbed my attention this week is Prime Minister Christopher Luxon's trip to India.
Uh-huh.
And it's happening soon, too, like next week, starting on March 15th.
Yeah, big visit planned for sure.
Definitely. And you know what really stands out to me is just the size of the delegation going with him.
Right.
It's huge. One of the largest ever for a New Zealand prime minister traveling overseas.
I think that's right, yeah. And it's definitely intentional. It signals that they're taking a very serious and broad approach to this trip.
Yeah, it's not just a quick meet and greet.
Not at all.
Hmm.
You've got key government ministers involved, Louise Upston, who's focused on tourism and hospitality, Todd McClay handling trade and investment, and Mark Mitchell, who's there for ethnic community.
Right, a whole team, and it's not just politicians either.
Exactly. There are business leaders, prominent members of the Kiwi-Indian community, and even members of parliament. It's a real mix, a whole cross-section of New Zealand going over there.
Which makes you wonder, why is this trip to India such a big deal for New Zealand right now? I mean, what are we really trying to get out of it?
Yeah. Well, Prime Minister Luxon himself has said that strengthening the relationship with India is a top priority for his government.
Okay, so it's a pretty significant move then.
Definitely. And it's not like we're starting from scratch either. There's been some real progress made in the last year building a good, solid relationship with India. This trip is like the next big step in that process.
Right, building on what's already there. So Luxon's hoping to further strengthen the close links between our countries.
Exactly, taking things to the next level.
Yeah.
And, when you look at India on the global stage, you can't deny its economic power. It's a major player.
Absolutely, it's hard to ignore.
And the one news report we've been looking at actually points out that India is the world's fastest growing major economy.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
It really is, especially when you consider the sheer scale of their economy. That kind of growth trajectory is massive. And you know what else? They're already the 5th largest economy globally.
5th already?
Yeah, and projections show they're on track to become the 3rd largest in the not-so-distant future.
So for a country like New Zealand looking to build economic partnerships, that kind of growth is something you can't just ignore.
Precisely. It's a huge opportunity, and it makes sense why Luxon is making it a priority. He's specifically planning to meet with senior business leaders in Mumbai.
So there's definitely a big economic focus to this trip.
Absolutely. They're looking to tap into those opportunities and figure out how our economies can work better together. It's all about exploring those possibilities and making sure New Zealand is well positioned for the future.
Smart move. It's not all about the economics, though, is it?
No, it's not. This visit also has a lot of significance in terms of politics and security.
Right. Strengthening those ties is another key objective.
Exactly. And what's interesting? India is recognized as a really important power in the Indo-Pacific region.
Which has become a really crucial area strategically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting. Luxon has said that he wants to sit down with Prime Minister Modi and discuss ways they can work together to maintain peace and prosperity in the region.
So essentially collaborating to keep things stable in a part of the world that's becoming more and more important.
Exactly. It's about recognizing shared interests and finding ways to work together.
It sounds like a pretty high-level discussion.
It is. And speaking of high level, Luxon is actually scheduled to give the opening address at the Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi.
Oh, wow. And that's
India's premier defense and security dialogue.
a pretty prominent platform for New Zealand to be on.
It really is.
Yeah.
It shows how seriously both countries are taking this engagement.
Definitely. Now, something else that caught my eye in this one news report is the emphasis on the people-to-people connections between our countries.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, around 6% of New Zealand's population claims Indian heritage.
That's a significant portion of our society.
Yeah, it represents a very strong natural link between our two countries.
It does.
Yeah.
And they're really highlighting that Prime Minister Luxon is actually traveling with a special community delegation. It's the first of its kind.
So it's not just about government-to-government interaction.
Not at all. It's about recognizing and celebrating the contributions of the Kiwi-Indian community. The aim is to really showcase the best and brightest among them.
I love that idea. It's like bringing those personal stories and connections to the forefront.
Exactly, because international relationships aren't just about agreements on paper. They're about real people and communities.
Absolutely. Now, zooming out a bit and looking at the bigger picture globally, there's obviously a lot happening in the world right now.
Definitely a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, and Luxon himself has said that New Zealand's relationship with India is more important than ever, given all this geopolitical uncertainty.
He's right. In a world facing so many complex challenges, having strong relationships with key partners like India becomes even more critical for New Zealand.
For our security, for our prosperity, everything.
Exactly. It's about navigating a changing world and making sure we have strong allies. And Luxon seems pretty optimistic that this visit will achieve a real step change in our engagement with India.
Oh, that's encouraging.
It is. The big goal, as he's laid out, is to strengthen mutual security and prosperity for both our countries.
So if we kind of pull all of this together, what does it tell us?
I think it's clear that Prime Minister Luxon's trip to India is more than just a routine diplomatic visit.
It's a big deal.
It is. It's about strengthening economic ties with a major player on the global stage. It's about deepening political and security cooperation in a really vital region. And it's about celebrating the strong human connections that already exist between our countries.
And don't forget the size and makeup of that delegation.
Right. That really drives home the point that New Zealand is serious about this relationship.
It's a clear signal that we're committed to building a stronger future together with India across a whole range of areas.
It really shows how interconnected everything is. Economic growth, regional stability, the contributions of our diaspora communities. It all plays a role in shaping New Zealand's place in the world.
Absolutely. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought. As you follow Prime Minister Luxon's trip to India, I want you to think about what this strengthened relationship could really mean for New Zealand's future. What are the potential benefits? What specific areas of collaboration, whether it's trade, technology, cultural exchange, or even security initiatives, do you think hold the most promise for both countries?
It's a good question to consider. What are those areas where we can truly leverage this partnership to achieve something great for both New Zealand and India? Something to keep in mind as we watch this visit unfold and see what comes next.
It's definitely a story worth following. So until next time, keep thinking critically, and we'll see you back here for another deep dive.
See you then.
Bye.